we need to, as a leader, have a vision and build the culture of our company. And the cultures are with us. Who are we? Who do we stand for? But it's like put the intention out there and detach from the process because you don't know what's going to happen.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. And we are continuing our series on the coaches that don't suck. And when I think about that, my gosh, my friend Mauricio, this man is not only so experienced with entrepreneurship and with the dynamics of family and entrepreneurship, but he's also just such a complete gentleman. I remember when we met in a mastermind together. I was just so impressed with his presence and with his connection that when the opportunity to jump on this podcast came along, you were at the top of my list, my friend. So thanks for being here, Mauricio. I'm so glad to see you.
Thank you very much, Amanda, for having me. I'm thrilled to be here and to share this time with you and to serve your audience. I'm excited to share with all of them.
I love it. I love it. Well, for the listener, why don't you just take 30 seconds and give us a quick background on you and like what you do in business and what you're focused on right now?
Great. Well, I do coaching, consulting, and mentoring for entrepreneurs and family business leaders. So I help them grow their business and get organized and systematized so they can actually become from operators to owners. And through that development, don't leave aside, like their personal life and their family life so they can really make the business work for them instead of being a slave of their business.
That's so good. I think that's another reason that I really connected with you is because family is a huge value of mine. It's one of the big reasons that I became an entrepreneur and left the corporate American world was so that I could be more present with my family, travel on our terms, and so on. So, family is a big, big piece of success, in my opinion. And it sounds like yours as well.
Definitely. And I've been traveling around with my family, being a staying home dad and an entrepreneur at the same time that raising my kids. So I really value going from a workaholic to, making a lifestyle that works for me, my wife and my kids.
That's so good. That's so good. Talk to me a little bit about how do you find that balance? I think, there's a lot of newer entrepreneurs that listen to this podcast. There's also a lot of established entrepreneurs who struggle with that B word, the balance. And I actually just heard one of my favorite influencers was saying, balance, it doesn't exist. If you want to do something great, you
Yeah.
can't be in balance. And I was like, I'm going to agree to disagree there, or I'm going to agree with you that greatness is important, but greatness in your family is as important, more important than greatness even in business. Is my personal take. I'm really curious
Yeah.
though about how you look at this and when you're helping your clients navigate the balance of being a present parent and also being like fiduciarily responsible with your business,
Yes.
what would you say they should be thinking about?
I think it's a topic, so we need to be clear on that. It doesn't exist. I think it more of a what's the priority? What's the main focus at the moment? So when you're on a big project, you will be focusing more there. But then if you have the flexibility, you can then go to the baseball game or to the theater piece or to the teachers conference. So you can allow yourself to be flexible and be present where you need to be. Because otherwise we put so much pressure into ourselves that we are frustrated and we are unhappy and we are overwhelmed because it's just a topic. It's just an idealistic thing that it's good as an idea, but to take it as a reality, we really need to ground and be know that we are not going to be perfect in any of those areas. We just need to be mindful of what is the very best thing that I can give and where's the best place that I can focus at this very moment, which will change over time. It's very dynamic. So I think in more of an integration and not allow your business to kind of kidnap you or not be so, yeah, family's great and everything's great, but we are not developing the business. So it becomes a hobby and it's not a real business.
So good. And just especially for the newer entrepreneurs, what is the difference between a hobby and a business?
Yeah, that's a great question because, when things get real, many entrepreneurs chicken out. They freak out and they say, oh, I don't play anymore. Or we play with the idea of being an entrepreneur, but we are not an entrepreneur because we are, you know, working on projects all the time. So I plan to do this and I think of doing that. And this is what I'm going to do next. But what is it, what we are actually doing? So for me, it's, what is your short term that aligns to your vision? Because we can have a vision and we should, and we all need goals to go there. But what are the steps that we need to take there? So definitely, you know, sales, it's a key topic on this thing and getting real and honest with yourself. You don't have to be $1 million company. You just have to do something that resonates with you and that fits your lifestyle and your wants and needs. And this idea of we're gonna grow so big, that is not for everyone. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Coaching is not for everyone. We just need to be clear. Do we really want to do this, and onto what stand? And how can you really design it in a way that works for you and you are not, again, a slave of your venture?
I love this. This is such a great conversation because I think a lot of times when people are at the beginning stages of building something or pivoting, they struggle, I think, with clarity, clarity of exactly where they're going. Sometimes it's driven more out of a drive away from pain, which is honestly, in my opinion, a fine place to start. But if you
Yeah.
just sort of stay with I'm running from pain, I'm running from pain, I'm running from pain, and you don't have like this clarity about what is it that you're meant to create? What is it that you're desiring to create? And how are you taking meaningful, progressive steps forward that each of those projects that you're working on, it's impacting processes, it's impacting a process of sales, a process of lead acquisition, a process of your fulfillment and your customer journey. Like, are you just doing stuff to be seen to be busy, or are you doing stuff that is specifically lining up towards a target? And you can't hit a target when you don't know with clarity what that target is, and we
Yes.
hedge.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree, Amanda. And there's people great like you that are, have all these systems in place and know all the automations and you really, really put the processes on. But some people are more unstructured. So we need to be, know that we don't need to hit this again, this utopic, idealistic kind of thing that we're not. Some of us are more messy. So embrace that. Yeah, for sure. We need a vision and we need to build a culture. I think those are two main topics of any entrepreneur. We need to, as a leader, have a vision and build a culture for our company. And the cultures are with us. Who are we? Who do we stand for? But it's like put the intention out there and detach from the process because you don't know what's going to happen. Detach from the result. I mean, just focus on the process, on the next step, because we don't know what's going to happen. And sometimes we get too attached to the plan, and we know planning is great. We all should have a plan. We all need a plan, but that's a guide. That's not the actual world. It's a map. It's not the field.
Oh, that's so good. It's the map, it's not the field. You know what's coming up for me as you bring that up is I think sometimes we confuse the reality, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
here's what you get to know. You get to know the target, right? So you can define that. You can decide, okay, this is the target, this is the thing I want to aim at. You get to know the result of your plan. Like you get to know, like, okay, let's say I had a target. I wanted to grow my Instagram to 1 million followers. I am nowhere near 1 million followers. I'm just saying, like, that I get to define that. I get to decide, like, is that something that I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. Now you get to decide what are the steps you're going to take to get to 1 million followers. And then you get to take the steps, and then you get to find out, where did you land? And
Yeah,
whatever number you landed on, okay, now the most important step, and this is the part that people kind of gloss over, what did you learn? Right? Because it is a rare
yes.
thing to get 1 million of anything without having iteration and process and learning and growth as you actually do the thing.
For sure, for sure. And all this, the startup world, that it's like we all need to be, big scale. We don't. There's someone for there's market for every target. There's market for every provider. There's a market for you out there. But I go even on another thing, that those measures, those targets, in the sense of what's my goal, some of them are for vanity purposes. We need to differentiate what is vanity and what
Mm-hmm.
it's really matter. Because yeah, we could have hundreds and thousands of followers, but is that bringing business to your venture? Is that what really, are you serving? Are you doing what you really love? Because we get so attached to those goals that
Mm-hmm.
they make our ego go bigger. But am I serving the one that I have writing from? And I'm serving the one that needs my help? And then from the financial standpoint, it's like the revenue. Oh yeah, let's drive the revenue. Yeah, but what about profitability? We forget about that. So revenue, it's more vanity. Then profit is more sanity. But then cash flow is reality. We need to get it back to what it's really matter. So don't get lost on all those we should do this and that, because what matters at the end is, are you building something that you're passionate about, that you're enjoying, or are you a slave again of whatever society or other people outside is telling you
Someone
that you should
else's
do?
vision. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what's coming up for me too is, like, as a mother, when I started out, I started as a stepmom. I got a little bit of a head start as a stepmom,
yeah,
and then I had two more of my own. And early on, I did the same thing as a mom as what you're talking about a business owner does. So a business owner will look at somebody else's business, somebody else's vanity metrics that are super easy to see, somebody else's brand or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, I'm not that, so I'm not there. I'm not worthy. I haven't done it. I did the same thing with parenthood, right? I was like, what's the
yeah.
definition of a really amazing mom? And I put so much energy and time in the earlier days, especially, into things that ultimately I discovered really didn't matter to either me or my husband or my children. And
Yeah.
it was because I was defaulting to these models or these perceptions that I had about what was perfect, what is that, what's that ideal, what is that goal, and I was forgetting to ask, yeah, but what's mine? Right? What's
And I'm gonna
mine?
tell you a
What's
story
important
about
to my
that,
husband? Yeah, please.
because sometimes we feel that we're behind, and something happened just last week. I was not hitting the targets that I put myself into. I was having some sales calls, and some of them were not as effective as I expected. But then we have the parent teacher conference, and we had this feedback for our two daughters. I have two daughters, 14 and 12, both girls. And my wife and I, we were connecting on these calls. It was like receiving feedback of what we were doing. And they told us time and again, guys, I don't know what's going on in your home, but you're doing something that it's remarkable, because your kids are doing great at school, and they're happy and they're kind and they're doing their work, and they're on the theater, on the music. And we were like, oh my God, this felt our heart so much. We were filled with this joy of, yeah, maybe we didn't hit that business target, but yes, what is most important for me? I mean, and for some people, it's going to be the business, and that's okay. But for me, I know that I wanted to be a present father, and that's why I took the decisions that I took for going out from Venezuela, and living abroad and following my wife's corporate career and looking for a way to do my business to make it portable because we were moving around the world from Switzerland to Brazil to Italy now. And I said, oh my God, this is what I was hoping to get. This is, for me, it's a short term versus long term. My kids are having the tools that they need for life. And this for me is a lot more relevant than if I hit my sales target or not. So I think we can put things in perspective, and that's what we coaches do.
Exactly. I mean, like that's one of the great things that we get to do in relationship with our clients for sure. You're reminding me of, I've been so lucky in so many ways, and one of those ways was I worked for 10 years in one of the largest consulting companies in the world, and I'll never forget this little bit of personal development wisdom before I got way nerdy on personal development. This is much earlier days. And it was a senior manager at the time who said, your life, it's like you're juggling all these different balls, but one of the balls is made of rubber, one of the balls is made of glass, right? And your job is really to understand like which one is that. And, for me,
Mm-hmm.
family is glass. Right? Not that I need to be like it's like that tempered glass that they use in bars. Like it's a good solid glass. But the point is that I want to be careful when I'm juggling, thinking about my marriage, thinking about my kids. It's like, okay, where can the glass shatter and what's going to bounce back? And the thing is with a business, there's so much pressure, I think, sometimes when you're setting those targets
Mm-hmm.
to make them seeing the future, and nobody can see the future. We can make a
Yeah,
very educated, targeted guess, right?
yeah,
But there's going to be factors that go into the whole process that it's going to be north or south of that target. And that is the
yes,
game of business, right? Is to then go
yes.
back and be like, okay, so it's a rubber ball. That's what I'm saying. It's a rubber ball.
Yeah, and I'm working with a client right now. He's a mathematician. He's an entrepreneur as well, and he was a dean of a big university in South America, and now he is, in other places. And he told me because he worked on the venture capital and this kind, and he was telling me this is fiction. With numbers we can do whatever. So again, what is the real world, and what's the fiction of it? And definitely we are juggling all the time. And that's part of life. We have this fantasy idea, this utopic idea that we're gonna need to be perfect everywhere. Where's the ugly? Where's the bad part of yourself? Where are your shadows? What are the things that you need to embrace and where you are neglecting? I think we as coaches we need to really, put that out there and make it more realistic because of course there are gold standards, there are procedures, there are indicators, there are many things, there are best practices, and we all want to have that, but as a reference. We have our own kind of things. And I'm telling you this, Amanda, because I was so much into studying. I have a master's degree. I have two MBAs, one in family business and one in business regular. And I'm business administrator bachelor. So I was doing all of this, and then I was doing this my certification as a family business consultant, and then as a coach. And I was like, all right, all of this, and what is it? Why is that people is not executing what we already know? And that's why I lean a lot into coaching, and I wanted to understand more the human behavior and what was behind all of that. And the term coach today, it's weird, because yeah, it's become like an standard for when someone is helping someone else. But I think coaching, it's really a methodology, and it's really helping people to give a perspective of what you're doing. So if we are not opening it up and seeing other lenses, we kind of get, again, the tunnel vision of whatever, corporate America or any career that have a specific way of being. And we are not in that time. We're in integration time. We're in a moment that we are putting the pieces together. And I think that's part of my role here. I'm putting the pieces together, helping people to organize their life. I'm not Marie Kondo. I'm not going to put you in boxes. I'm going to help you get out of the box because we are trapped in boxes in a way. We try to think, especially in marketing, it's important because we need to communicate clearly, but we're not in a box anymore. We are beyond those boxes. Those boxes don't fit us anymore. That model was very useful for some time. Now we are in another time.
I agree. I love this. I was actually doing a live stream earlier today, and I defined perfection is an obsession with a single point of view, right? And really our job is to open perspective, and as a coach it's really important personally, but it's also the thing we do for others. Mauricio, what are three things that you feel help a coach in particular not suck?
Oh my God, I love this question. I think the first it's listening, and we need connection. That will be the second one. Ask, don't tell. And that's something I practice with my kids too. I got that from Positive Discipline. I did a course so many years ago. And that's, we start telling, this and that. And that's something we need to be aware of as coaches because what we are, it's helping people to see themselves in our mirror. And we're putting the mirror to themselves so they can see themselves and we can re-say what they just said. Or we can, because we have the temptation of give more content or give content, but that's not a coach. I mean, the coaching itself, it's about listening. It's about asking the question. It's about helping people find their answers. We are an enable. We enable them. We facilitate the process, but they are the ones that need to have the breakthroughs. If I tell them this, I'm ruining the magic. So breathe and wait, because in the silence, there's wisdom, there's infinite possibilities.
So good. So good. Mauricio, what's the best way for people to follow you?
Well, in my Instagram at Mauro Chaparro, that's MIUROCHAPARRO, or you can look for me, Mauricio Chaparro, on LinkedIn as well.
Love it. I love it. Well, we'll make sure to include that in the link below in the show notes. Listener, go ahead and share this episode with three of your friends who need to hear that they can have more balance, they can have more broadening of perspective as they're building their business and as they're creating their next version, whatever that happens to be for them. And go ahead and subscribe so you never miss another episode. And also do us a favor and leave us a 5-star review because it helps others find the episode and choose it among the different options. Thank you so, so much, Mauricio. We will see you again very soon.
My pleasure. Well, just keep going. That's my motto in Spanish. Solo avanza.
Love it. Just keep going. I love it. And do what matters. That's mine. We'll see you very soon.